at 7 o'clock, we have a different series, all like a seminar series where we are going to discuss different aspects of yoga. So please be free to join it for just 30 minutes from 7 till 7:30. So let me first introduce you a little bit about Swasti Yoga. Okay, Swasti Yoga Center is an ISO certified yoga center for quality of education, training, therapy, and research in yoga, and it associate with of the Indian Yoga Association. It has 5 branches in Pune, and for 8 years have been providing professional yoga teacher training courses to Indian as well as international students. My name is Alba Cobos. I am a health psychologist and faculty of Swasti. I am from Barcelona, from Spain. And I came to India because I was very curious about Ayurveda, about yoga, and about the Indian way of living. So I came to study and I ended up living in Pune for a while now. And now I'm a yoga teacher as well, and I'm studying yoga wellness instructor with Swasti. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Vikas. He is a founder of Swasti Yoga Center, holds an MD in Ayurvedic medicine with yoga certification from Ayush and QCI India. He has worked as a yoga ambassador for the government of India, and he is currently an examiner for QCI yoga examination. Today, I'm going to be asking him a few questions or myths about yoga, some questions that I had while studying or going into yoga, and some questions that still now my students ask me about it. So I'm sure that his wisdom and his knowledge is going to bring some light to these questions. So we are going to distribute this interview. First, I'm going to ask him questions. And for the last 5 minutes, we are going to open the forum for you to ask him whatever you want related to the myths or whatever perception you have about yoga. All right, so be with us till the end. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see the PowerPoint. Yes, is it visible?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so the first myth that I used to face is most of the people who join yoga do it because of the physical practice. Is it yoga only a tool for physical fitness or it's something more?
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Alba for really giving this great introduction, and it was a pleasure to know her journey. And we, as the family of Swasti Yoga, welcome you. And we are optimistic that in today's session, which is going to address the yoga myths, a lot of your doubts and the doubts which are there in a lot of other yoga enthusiasts globally would be solved. So a lot of people ask me about this thing, that is yoga only physical, only related with exercise, or something more? So I think the image that you are showing speaks for its own. But this also reminds me of a very famous Indian mythological character whose name is Hanuman. So you all heard and seen Hanuman. And how exactly this is similar to that is, when Hanuman went at the end of the shore and he was about to jump and reach the destination of Lanka, he was not sure if he can actually do the same. So there was his old friend who actually told him that he had immense powers within himself, but he was cursed so that he won't misuse the powers unless and until it was really essential for the good of the mankind. And then when this realization took place in Hanuman, he grew like a mountain. And that is what everyone knows about the giant leap of Hanuman. And even all the yoga practitioners who practice Hanumanasana, yeah, you all might have practiced the Hanumanasana, where actually you feel the split. So that split Yeah, what we are doing in the physical asana is nothing but reminding you of your immense inner potential, which is like this iceberg. What you see in the tip is just the physical aspects of yoga. But what is beneath is far more greater than what you can imagine. So I think all the global yoga community, they, along with regular yoga practices of the asanas and pranayam, if they devote some time to go and explore the depths, I think it will give them the same powers which the Hanuman could achieve. And that is the power of understanding your own self, and that is self-realization. Yeah. So.
Right. Thank you so much. We'll move to the next myth. I've met many people who were very curious about yoga, but they didn't start it at all because they thought that they were not flexible or they were not thin enough to practice. What is your view on this?
Okay. So if you ask about flexibility, I would say yes, flexibility is important, but don't take it in the wrong way, because most of the time, the perception of flexibility is the flexibility of the body. Here, I'm not talking about the flexibility of your body. I'm talking about the flexibility of your mind. Yeah.
Right.
So there's a very famous quote in yoga which says that when you're bending your spine, most of us practice Padottanasana. Yeah. When you're bending your spine and going down, you're actually not bending your spine or working on your spine, but you're working on your ego.
All right.
And today, in this world, 21st century world of commercialization, which is fast paced, I think somewhere there are a lot of relationship crises because of this ego coming in the center. And if we, through the platform of yoga, we are able to tame that ego and become a more humble with developing more of humility, I think that can create a big change, bringing smiles on the face of people around you. Yeah. So yes, flexibility of the mind, yes, but not that of the body. When
right.
into yoga, you can be of any shape and any size. To make you thin is the task or the reward of doing yoga. Okay, so definitely all those people who feel they have to undergo weight loss, that is one of the different benefits of yoga. Even in Hatha Yoga, classical text of Hatha Yoga Pradipika, they give the benefit of Vapu Krushatvam. Vapu means your body, and Krushat means thinness. So with the practice of yoga, how will you understand that you have achieved the depth in yoga of Hatha Yoga? That is, one of the sign is indicated that your body becomes slim. Now again,
Right.
thinness of the body cannot be compared. For example, a thin elephant can never be compared with a thin giraffe, because both have different constitution. And an elephant should respect what the nature has given to him. At the same time, the giraffe shouldn't think of being fat like an elephant, because that is what its nature is. Yeah. So being in the limits of nature, definitely yoga helps you to achieve that perfect state of health.
Right. Thank you. In the yoga practice, we chant Om, and we chant also different mantras which belong to Hinduism. Also different practices like joining the hands in Namaste, it's from Hinduism. So it's actually yoga related to Hinduism.
Okay. I would like to ask another question in the same regards. Mm-hmm. How many of you, I think now in this, you can say the information technology age, everybody is online and having the social media accounts, right? So if I ask you the question, how many of you don't use Facebook because you feel it is Jewish? To find this question, you'll say that the Dr. Vikas has gone crazy. Yeah. Now I will ask one more question. Do you feel that the gravity is Christian? The concept of gravity, how many of you might be feeling that it is Christian? I don't think there is anyone in this world who feels that gravity is Christian and Facebook has to be practiced by can be used by only Jewish people. Just because Mark Zuckerberg is Jewish and just because Newton was Christian, it has nothing to do with either the gravity or the Facebook. Yeah. In the same way, the perception that yoga should be practiced by Hindu people is mostly because it originated in India, which is place of yoga, and most of the people in India traditionally were Hindus. And that might be the reason why this perception has been created. Otherwise, yoga has nothing to do with not only Hinduism, but any religion of the world. And to be going a little more deep, we all believe that Hinduism is actually not a religion at all. To be very specific, it is considered to be a way of life of people living in the Indian subcontinent since thousands of years. Yeah. So their culture, their lifestyle, somewhere now in the 21st century is being given a name of a religion, and that's what we understand today. But even if we consider Hinduism as a religion, we should always understand that the origin of yoga, which is 5,000 years back, 5,000, it's not 500. I think 5,000 is somewhere most of the countries cannot even imagine of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
A long time. Yeah. So that is the time from when the need of yoga was felt. And again, how yoga was invented is a very beautiful story. And I think if the global audience understands that, they won't think that yoga is some kind of a religious activity. So to understand the need, how yoga was invented, we should understand the need which was felt in that era of 5,000 years back. Yeah. So the common underlying thing of humanity, all the humans, they have the same emotions and feelings that they have today. And also, an interesting fact is whether you go 500 years or 5,000 years back, they have remained the same. For example, even today we have property disputes, and the same kind of property disputes can be found out in the greatest epics of the Indian culture, that is called as Mahabharata, just because two brothers have a fight over the disputed land. Yeah. So somewhere or the other, humanity or human nature has remained the same, and that is to dominate or to control the environment, the circumstances and situations. Yeah. The more you try to control the situations, it's something like sand. The more you try to have a firm grip, the sand slides down your hand. And when it happens, you are grief stricken, you're sad, you're frustrated. Okay. And this was a common problem for the people living 5,000 years back. So in those days, the way we are celebrating International Yoga Day, people coming together, having conferences and symposiums, in the same way, you can imagine 5,000 years back, the intellectuals came together at the foothills of the Himalayas, which is considered to be the birthplace of a beautiful science. Yeah. At this brainstorming session, that how can we bring the humanity out of these sufferings? And then in this discourse, what came out was, if you cannot go outside and solve the problems and change the situations around you, why not we create a 360-degree change and go within ourselves and adapt ourselves in such a way that you are able to adjust with the changing environment. So it was a very important milestone change in the thought process of mankind, which today evolved for thousands of years, and we have it now in the form of yoga. And now I think there won't be anyone who would be into this dilemma whether it's religious practice or not. Yeah. So yoga is equally global to every human as it is to every Indian.
Right. Okay, thank you. Surya Namaskar, for example, translates for salutations to the sun. And hence many people believes that only when yoga is practiced in the morning, then only you can get full of the benefits. What is your opinion about it?
Yeah. So if you're talking about Surya Namaskar, then definitely the best time to practice it is in the early morning when you have the sunrise. But if you're talking about yoga, because there's a lot of difference between yogasanas and yoga. If you're talking about the asanas, the postures, and the physical practices like pranayam and different kind of mudras, bandha, and shuddhi kriyas, definitely the best time is the Brahma Muhurta. Now, ideally, Brahma Muhurta is considered to be 1.5 hours before sunrise. And the reason why you have to wake up early and start your practices is because of the spiritual dimension and its compatibility with your physical needs of the body. When you wake up early before 6, that is considered to be the time where the vata dosh in your body is predominant. So if you want to overcome the problems of indigestion, constipation, okay, that is the perfect time when you can empty your bowels, and that is the time, because of the vata dosha, your brain and its nervous system and the neuroendocrine system is performing at its peak. So after doing your morning rituals, if you start with the yogic practices where you are empty stomach, yeah, that is the time when you are going to get the best benefits of all these physical practices. The second spiritual benefit which is associated with this is that is the time where it is neither day nor night. And this middle path is something what all the Hatha yogis know about. It's neither sun nor moon, it's neither night nor day. And that is the point which is considered to be very important. And that is the time where the probability of your energy moving into the channels of Sushumna are the highest. And so the early morning time is considered to be the best. But otherwise, because of everybody is not privileged to practice yoga 24/7. So with your day-to-day activities, your job and profession, what best you can do is, if not in the morning, you can also utilize the evening time, which is around evening 5 to 7 or something of that sort, where post lunch there is a gap of 3 to 4 hours and stomach is empty, and that is not creating a problem. But otherwise, if you're talking about yoga, I believe that every second of your life is the best time to practice yoga.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Some people think that yoga is a very slow practice, so only old people should practice it. On the other hand, some people believe that there are some postures that they are almost impossible and that you can only do them when you are young. So can you share your thoughts about yoga in different ages?
Okay. I think why most of the people feel that age could be a barrier, especially old age, is because they feel that they are no longer flexible. So I think this has something to do with the flexibility of a person. I think that's a block that most of the people have. See, I will definitely would like, as a doctor, I would like to give share an example of a particular disease in your body, from which you can understand how much being agile is important. There's a condition, especially in heart diseases, there is a condition which is called as arteriosclerosis. I think some of the people might be knowing it, yeah? So arteriosclerosis is nothing but hardening of the arteries or the blood vessels. And because of that, whenever there is pressure, increased pressure of the blood flowing through, it leads to rupture of these blood vessels. And this leads, if it takes place in the brain, it leads to stroke, leading to paralysis. If it takes place into the heart, it leads to heart attack. Yeah, all these problems take. Simply, if you want to understand this, you can take an example of a tree. Okay. When the tree is young, the branches are young, the branches are flexible. They don't break even if you twist them. But as and when the branch become old, there is rigidity developed. And if you apply a little bit of pressure, the branch breaks. Yeah.
Right.
So the same thing is what we all people have to understand. If this can take place inside your body, the same thing happens in the other parts of your body. So what I feel is, whatever your age is, there is no time where you cannot start the practice of yoga. I can give the examples like you have shown it in your slide. To the left hand side, have definitely the granny who is the oldest living yogi performing the asanas. We also had Nalamma, who received Padma Shri, an Indian lady who created thousands of yoga teachers. She was from Tamil Nadu. It was just last year that she passed away. She was 101 years old. So even if she was 101, she was practicing halasan, she was practicing sarvangasan, all these difficult postures till her last moments. So I think we can get a lot of inspiration from this, that there is nothing like I am 60, I am 70, I cannot start. Definitely every age is the right age to start. Now the question is, sometimes as a doctor, there are a lot of parents who really have started understanding the importance of yoga and they want their kids to now practice it. So they come and ask, doctor, what's the age when we should send our kids to your yoga classes? And this is somewhere I really feel amazed, because most of the time I don't have seen any kind of any parents who come to me and ask what is the right age to give chocolates or cola or soft drinks.
Yeah.
But yes, for this I have a lot of questions. So maybe I would like to share some light on that. For the first important incident, what the question is, why exactly children should be introduced to the science of yoga? What is that in yoga which really can create a very great impact on their personality? So I think that thing which the parents are finding is, rather than the physical aspects, that is flexibility or strength, I think they are looking towards the mental aspects of yoga.
Right.
Because even as parents, they understand that somewhere at the end of the day, their sleep is disturbed, their lifestyle is faulty, and they are paying a price in the form of stress, in the form of irritation, in the form of all the diseases of the digestive tract coming from their emotional aggression. I think when yoga introduced at a very early age, when we are talking about asanas, it can be started from the age of 5. But if you are talking about the mental aspects of yoga, I think it starts from the pregnancy itself. When a pregnant lady is attending the antenatal yoga, prenatal yoga classes and the antenatal yoga classes, I think the baby which is yet to born, who can experience emotions, because the mothers say that the baby kicks. Yeah. So definitely, whenever there are different kind of emotions taking place in the mother, the mother can experience that the baby is showing some kind of changes, right? So it means that the baby is also having the ability to think good, bad, some things, some music the baby likes, some music the baby doesn't like. Yeah. So these practices of maybe chanting of the mantras and everything is influencing the development of brain in the baby. And this is the age when actually the yoga teachings have already been begun. Now it's the teachings of the asanas which at the age of 4 and 5 can be started.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, I think we have a lot of discussion that we can take out of this myths. So I think I'll go a little bit ahead to the last one because I want to keep 5 minutes for the question and answer. I found this a little bit funny. So there are some trends that are happening all around the world, which, like, for example, in the picture, you can see people performing an asana while having a beer. So what are your thoughts about it? Is this even okay? Or it's just marketing strategy?
See, all the yoga professionals and yogis definitely agree at one point that the stoppage of the fluctuations of the mind. It is a beautiful tool to control yourself and your mind. So I think I am equally amazed and puzzled to see these images where people have started branding these kind of different yogic techniques, and now they are taking royalty and giving franchises to such kind of things. So it's not only something which is different, but I feel that some of these things actually pose a serious threat to the health of the public. Yeah, especially if you're talking about this kind of activity where you're doing some kind of practices while you're drinking. As a doctor, I would like to share some light on this. The first important thing, you have to understand that beer is an alcohol. And what alcohol does, it's not like water yoga. They're not drinking water. Even water yoga, drinking water is dangerous. They're doing this.
Yes,
that if it's beer, because it contains alcohol, it suppresses your reflexes. So normally when you feel cough, what is cough is when some foreign thing is going into a respiratory tract, your body gives a reaction by coughing and it saves your life. But if you are doing this kind of beer yoga, because your reflexes are suppressed, you won't cough. So the beer there are chances that this might get into your respiratory tract, and you might, if you are lucky, you might land up into just pneumonia or sepsis. And if you're unlucky, maybe by the end of the session, you might be into the coffin. Yeah. And this is what actually happens. People might be shocked, and I think we should use the podium of International Yoga Day to create this awareness. Because of unethical and wrong practices of yoga, in the journals of orthopedic, the American Journal of Orthopedic, which is being with all the great orthopedic doctors in US, they have this research published that in US, the second important reason for having injuries, musculoskeletal joint injuries after road traffic accidents is none other but yoga. And they don't say the practices of yoga, they say just yoga. So it's not that a yoga center or a teacher gets a blame, it's the entire global yoga community gets the bad image. And I think we as the stakeholders or yoga professionals should be very aware of such kind of false practices or pseudo practices of yoga taking place everywhere, because it's our moral responsibility to make people aware about what exactly yoga is and what it is not.
Yeah, totally agree. It is our responsibility to ensure the safety of our students. So, yeah. Okay, sir. So this is all. Now we have 5 minutes, which we would like to hear you, whatever doubts you have, and you want him to address them. Please unmute yourselves and you can ask. So I'll stop sharing the screen. Yes. Is anyone having any doubt or some type of curiosity that you would like to share?
I think the session was too heavy.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Namaste, sir. This is Suvarna. Actually, this was a wonderful session. Thank you for that. Just one thing, while interviewing, sir said there is a difference in yoga and yogasana. Asanas are the postures, and yoga is a different. And you should practice 24/7 yoga. So, sir, can you please elaborate this? It will help.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So what is my perspective of 24/7 yoga? There is a term in yoga which is called as Soham, or in Kiran Savita, it is called as Ajapa Gayatri. Even if we don't go into the technical details, in the modern world, this concept is becoming more and more popular. And you might be knowing this with the new modern names, which is called as mindfulness. I think Ajapa Gayatri or Soham is something which is outdated, but if you like the new word, you can use the word mindfulness. There are classes, or you can say coaching centers, who teach you mindfulness eating, mindfulness sleeping and everything. And simply if you translate this, what is it in Marathi, you will just, it is just like Man laun jevne, Man laun abhyas karne. So whatever you're doing it, put your heart into it. So if you're eating, enjoy what you're doing, eating. If you're sleeping, enjoy it. If you're studying, enjoy it. So if you're actually experiencing this, then that is the highest state of yoga. Yoga doesn't mean that you have to go, leave everything, go into the Himalayas, or go to some beach, or go to a yoga teacher, TTC. Yoga actually is what? A farmer doing his farming activities is yoga. A scientist working in his lab is yoga. A singer dedicatedly enjoying, passionately singing is yoga. And I think in our day-to-day activities, even if we consciously enjoy every moment of our life, experience the deep inhalation, the transformation in self, and exhale, this is the best way you can practice yoga.
Okay, thank you, sir. That was great.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful question. We have another question on the chat, which says, what is your opinion about power yoga?
Yes.
By Ms. Minal is asking this question.
Okay. So if we have something which is power yoga, it means that the rest forms of yoga are powerless yoga. But it all depends on how do you define power as. Okay. And if you get into the basics of yoga, yoga is just to stop thinking. So I don't know where is this power coming from. Maybe it might be like to use power to stop thinking. And if this is the aspect, then it's wrong, because hinsa is prohibited in yoga. We have a very important yama called as ahimsa. So violence with your own self and violence to others or anyone in this world is prohibited according to the basics of yoga. So if you are using power, I don't know, you are all are wise enough to take the decisions.
Right. We have another question on the chat by Sangres Yoga. What is the right time to do pranayam?
Absolutely a very wonderful thing. The basic underlying thought or the goal of pranayam, especially according to the Hatha Yogic text, is awakening of the Kundalini. So to awaken the Kundalini, if you go into deep basics, it is all related with your Sushumna, the most important nadi. And the Sushumna nadi, which is within the Ida and the Pingala, is active in the between areas. That is when it is neither day nor night. So Brahma Muhurta, early morning, is the right time. The same happens in the 12 noon. The same happens in the evening, which is called as Sandhya. And the same is something at the 12 in the night. So I think every 6 hours, you can practice pranayam. But out of that, even more important is early morning, it is dawn, and the dusk. These two are the time frames when regularly a common man can practice pranayam.
So one more related to it. Is there any breathing technique that you need the stomach should be empty, or if by any chance it is full, you can do some breathing technique just for health purpose?
All right. See, mostly we have divided pranayam into two basic types. One are all the heat enhancing, or you can say energizing pranayam. And the second group of pranayam are all the cooling pranayam. So if you really want to practice after your meals or something, the only pranayam that you can go for are the pranayam. For example, the Nadi Shodhan pranayam. You can go for the Shitali pranayam. You can go for the Brahmari pranayam. And that too, it's not at a very great, with not the kumbhakas, but just as a kriya, you can practice these pranayam after meals.
Okay. Thank you.
Another question which has come is by Ms. Sweta. Which pranayam is good for bronchitis in children?
Beautiful. Especially I would like to thank, because in the times of COVID-19, everybody is concerned about the respiratory health and the kids are prone for it. Yeah. So there are some pranayam which work on the respiratory system as well as improving the immunity of the children. To quote some of them, the first important one is the Anulom Vilom pranayam. Yeah, the alternate nostril breathing technique. After that, the second important pranayam that will be helpful is, if the child is an adolescent, then you can teach him Bhasrika pranayam, forceful exhalations. Yeah? And the last pranayam which can be taught is Brahmari pranayam. And as you have seen in the kids yoga session, even the kids, like my daughter who is 4 years old, practices it. So definitely it can be done by kids if taught with the proper techniques and everything. So these are the pranayam which